How's it going, everybody? It's the Keenest Fox here. This is my channel where I talk about anime, video games, cartoons, most notably Sonic and Ninja Turtles. And today, I'm going to be talking about Velma. So, I'm going to just give you my whole overview or my whole review, thoughts and stuff, and opinions of what I think about the show. Just like I did for High Guardian Spice that one time, or High Spice Guardian, whatever you want to call it. I don't remember the fucking name of the shit. Anyways, so I'm going to talk about Velma, pretty much. What do I think of the characters and all that other stuff. So yeah, pretty much I watched all 10 episodes. I had to sit through all that. It was fucking torture. Lately, like a lot of these like shows like HBO Max or Disney Plus, like these streaming channels have really been putting out their worst effort and stuff. So I wanted to just rip into that and just like of course compare it to like some of the original. And by the end of this video, I will give you a recommendation of shows that I think are a lot similar, but done 1,000 times better. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so in case you don't know what Velma is, the series, Velma is basically an HBO Max series. It's basically a Scooby-Doo spin-off following a race swap version of the Mystery Incorporated gang, produced and starring Indian actress Mindy Kaling. It focuses on Velma, who's now Indian all of a sudden, and Mindy's self-insert, Norville, now biracial, that's basically just black Shaggy, Daphne, now Asian, and Freddy. And unfortunately, no Scooby Doo, so that kind of sucks. The show is adult oriented, so it has exaggerated violence, drugs, sexual themes. Definitely not recommended to anyone below the age of 16, or anyone for that matter, to be honest with you. The show is about a murder mystery, but it's mainly centered around high school drama and jagged gay romances, basically. All right, so what's the buzz about the show? What's the controversy? So lately, there's been a lot of race, gender, and sexuality swapping, which is a growing phenomenon, and to me, it's kind of lazy and pretty offensive to most people. As I explain as I go along. Actually, I kind of did a video. If you remember correctly, if you've been around long enough and you remember my Haryana video, where I was talking about how the idea of like tokenizing the entire Scooby Doo characters and stuff, and race swapping, gender swapping, and sexuality swapping, is not only a lazy and half baked idea, but that's just very stupid and it's like disingenuous. So I'll probably put up a clip right here. But for Mystery Incorporated, like the characters all have such iconic looks to themselves that just changing them alone that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? Like, what if I told you that Fred Jones is not a blonde white guy who wears blue and has an orange handkerchief, or that Shaggy Rogers isn't a white guy with shaggy hair and doesn't wear a green shirt and I guess what does he have, like baggy pants and stuff or whatever, or that Velma wasn't some girl. Well, I don't know. She could be white, Asian, whatever. That she was this girl who wore glasses and stuff, an orange sweater, and doesn't wear like this red mini kind of skirt or whatever. Yeah. What if I told you that? Or Daphne wasn't a redhead who wears a bit like a mix up of purple and lavender, right? You wouldn't even be able to tell who these characters are if they didn't have those very things. So the irony is, the showrunners are kind of self-aware of this and are purposely just doing this just to piss off people, as the teaser trailer kind of acknowledged. So my grievances is that the show is an anti-men, anti-white, pro-feminist, pro-gay, etc. like kind of narratives and stuff, and nobody really cares for that because we watch stuff like cartoons, play video games, and watch anime just to kind of escape that kind of reality. Because honestly, it's like, yeah, like we don't like it's just like it's pointless. Anyways, even with these themes, it's kind of unfunny to watch, coming off as a second-rate Family Guy and a discount Life is Strange, in my opinion, and it's somehow scored even lower than Dragon Ball Evolution. Yeah, that's how you know it's really bad. So we're gonna talk about that here. All right, so I'm gonna talk about the characters of the show. So I'm gonna start with Daphne first. I'm gonna talk about the characters that I think that are least ruined or most ruined. I mean, don't get it twisted; they're all ruined and terrible. But I'm just gonna start from like the least ruined to the most ruined. So in my opinion, the least ruined character, in my opinion, I would actually say is Daphne. But that is still like, yeah, like she's still a terrible character nonetheless in this show. Daphne is Velma's childhood friend and a popular girl at school
who later bullies Velma, then has a crush on her, basically. After her parents abandon her, she's adopted by two lesbian cops who reoccur as law enforcement. Daphne turns to selling drugs in order to foster enough money to hire a PI to find her biological family. Later, she meets her actual parents, who both don't have red hair, by the way, and finds out that they're criminals. My main problem with this is that this version of her is that she receives no consequences for her wrongs. Like the fact that she sells drugs and the writing just expects me to feel sorry for her because she's a minority. Like, what? And she's surprised that her parents are like felons despite committing one herself, or that she openly stabbed someone in front of her lesbian moms. That was a really dumb episode, by the way, but I'm gonna probably break it down a little bit if I get the chance. Speaking of which, they're like those lesbian cops. Her moms are like very, very incompetent police officers for not being able to deduce that their daughter is a drug dealer when they live in the same household. But anyways, her relationship with Velma is forced just so that they can claim gay representation. Daphne has bullied and manipulated Velma into selling drugs with her, and Velma has humiliated, lied, and sorry, I can't speak. Emotionally manipulated Daphne. And I'm supposed to be fond of this relationship? Yeah, right. Alright, so I gotta talk about the drug thing. First off, Daphne has to sell drugs in order to hire a PI in order to find her biological parents and stuff, and I'm supposed to feel sorry for that. Alright, now I don't know how much a PI cost. I mean, obviously, they're probably not cheap, but I would assume that, like, like, oh, they can't honestly be like, oh, well, you gotta turn to selling drugs and stuff and, like, ruining your entire, like her whole life and stuff in order to, like, oh, well, build up the money. I mean, because she's like what, a teenager, so she can still like have some time to like find other ways, like intern, or maybe look at like find other places and stuff to like find jobs and stuff, and maybe save up that way to look for a biological family versus like take an easy out and sell drugs and stuff and basically poison the community and like just get other people hooked. That's like, yeah, that's like a very just that's self destructive in my opinion. So I really don't. Obviously, I think this is just that. That's just dumb, and of course, this never really gets addressed again after the episode. So yeah, and Daphne receives no consequences for this. But what also kind of like baffles me, or what kind of shocks me, is the fact that like Daphne had the nerve to like be amazed that her parents are like felons and shit. They're criminals, but yet she's a criminal herself for selling drugs and shit, which that's a serious crime. So yeah, yeah, that's pretty bad. And another thing I wanted to point out about that episode Velma Kai, I believe, where they were trying to teach women's self defense and stuff. First off, the name is terrible. I know it's a pun on Cobra Kai, but they could have probably chosen something a little bit more classic, like I don't know, a pun on Into the Dragon, or a pun on Way of the Dragon, or I don't know, something, or who knows, like yeah, like any kind of classic martial arts flick or something. Fist of Fury, something, but but they chose Velma Kai. Anyways, that aside, I wanted to at least point this out. This is just a little nitpick, but in that episode, basically all the girls are fighting and shit, and of course there's like exaggerated violence, blood, and all that, and they're having like this full-on tournament. Now, back when I was a kid, this is like way over like 10 years ago. Back when I was a kid, when I was in like fifth grade, I used to take martial arts class. I used to take Taekwondo, and it's not like I was ever in a tournament or anything like that. But for self defense or for like martial arts and stuff, we always wore sparring gear and stuff to like protect ourselves and stuff like that. Which is something that they didn't really have inside this episode. They just had the characters like literally just wearing their gym clothes and them like basically just beating dog shit out of each other and stabbing each other and shit like that. It's like, why? You know, like no headgear, no cup, nothing. Like it's just like wow, you're just gonna just do it, just bare bone basically. But yeah, so that's also something I wanted to point out as well. That's pretty much about it. All right, so in the past, people used to question Daphne's purpose and her worth as a character, like when it came to the story and stuff, because of course you have like Fred as the leader, you have Velma as the smartest, and Scooby and Shaggy as like comic relief and always like they're the distraction and stuff. So Daphne actually comes from a rich background, so money shouldn't be much of a concern when she's around. However, they kind of just gave that role to Fred because they needed a rich white privileged kid and stuff. Basically, I'm gonna get into that later when I get to Fred. Uh, but yeah, but because they watch, but they just wanted to just dunk on the rich white male, basically. Daphne's also supposed to be attractive, and she's a fashion diva, so she's good at like charming men out of information, like the others. She's a master detective, being able to solve mysteries with her friends that would take most agents, detectives, and police like months to solve. She's a black belt in self defense, like karate, making her the most skilled hand to hand fighter among her friends. She's also a good journalist and talk show hostess. Not even Grey Delisle, basically her voice actress, like one of her most longest running voice actors, doesn't even like this show, and that says a lot. So that's all I gotta say about Daphne. All right, so I'm gonna talk about Norville Rogers, or basically, Shaggy, pretty much this version of Shaggy. We all know it's I'm gonna refer to him as Black Shaggy. I know it's like Shaggy's real name is actually Norville, and they call him Norville in the show. But I always like, of course, Shaggy's more catchier and more like easy to memorize, so I can't just be saying Norville all the time. But I'm gonna call him Black Shaggy, pretty much to just differentiate him from the actual Shaggy. But anyways, Black Shaggy is by far a disappointment to me in every category, considering that Shaggy has been like one of my favorite Scooby Doo characters and stuff. Him and Scooby, I always like to watch Scooby Doo because I love seeing Scooby and Shaggy just in action and stuff. They're always like the comic relief, and I like as a kid, I of course loved to watch Scooby Doo mainly for the comedy. I wasn't like smart enough to like understand the mysteries and stuff sometimes, but yeah. But basically, he's the son of the school's principal and the guidance counselor, and the grandson of some evil scientist who's done a lot of human experimentation. As a character, he this is the kicker right here. He has an unhealthy attachment to Velma, where he's contemplating on selling his own organs just to earn her affection. Yeah, I know you heard me right. The show describes him as a beta male, but honestly, he's a beta male, cuck, simp, and incel, 4 in 1 basically. So here's the thing. Since he was race swapped to be black solely to pander to my race, this means I actually get to pull the race card this time. Which I normally don't. I don't like to pull the race card, but I'm gonna pull the race card because this show is that offensive to me. Not only is it insulting that the creators thought about making Shaggy a token black character, basically, but also a creepy loser, bro. Why is he so obsessed with this version of Velma? She's not appealing, being depicted as overweight and not attractive, and she's mean spirited and shitty as a person. Like when I was in school, I kind of gave these kind of girls, like dirty ass looks and shit, because like, and I would just talk mad shit in front of them and stuff. I would constantly get in beefs and stuff with them. I mean, not because they're just ugly or whatever, but also because they were just mean spirited and they just didn't like me and shit. Not all girls, of course, just the ones that didn't like me, of course, and then for the ones that and I was interested in the girls that kind of had a combination of beauty and kindness, mostly the beauty, of course, but but of course the nice girls. I like the nice girls. I don't like mean girls and shit like that. It's just no. I don't know what kind of guy does or what like most people do. But anyways, yeah. So anyways, back to Black Shaggy. So later, Black Shaggy ends up dating some girl named Gigi and stuff, which isn't much of a trade up because she's also nasty and controlling as well. Then she kind of demonized Black Shaggy for neglecting her emergency call when she suffered some kind of allergic reaction to a bee sting, which he didn't even know about. So, like, how is that even fair? So I know. They like to like, I don't know. For some reason, of course, they like to just throw in this like weird shit to try and like demonize men and stuff and make it seem like, oh, it's all their fault. Like this, for example. Oh my God, it's like, oh, Black Shaggy's a terrible boyfriend because he didn't miraculously know that Gigi was suffering from a bee sting and stuff. And her first choice was to call Black Shaggy instead of actually calling, I don't know, somebody her emergency contact or calling a hospital or something to deal with it. But hey, it is what it is, right? But yeah, Black Shaggy, people. Alright, so despite being presented as a stoner and a coward in the original, Shaggy actually has some pretty impressive feats of like a lot of people don't really know. Outside of the whole Ultra Instinct Shaggy thing that everybody likes to hype up, or that's kind of a little bit of an internet meme. Alright, so not only is he a detective and a driver like the rest of his friends, but he's also an expert ventriloquist. So Shaggy is capable of like throwing his voice around and stuff, which is like perfect for like distractions and stuff. Shaggy is also a descendant of a cowboy, being Dapper Jack Rogers. If you actually watch the Scooby Doo Shaggy Showdown, basically, so Shaggy's kind of inherited some of Dapper Jack's skills, like possibly his gunslinging, his lasso skills. Shaggy's good at lassoing, and his horseback riding skills as well. Being able to ride like the meanest horse in his cousin's Dew Ranch, basically. Shaggy's also very athletic and has an average and as an average man, um, and he's a very skilled gymnast and track runner. So he is actually physically fit, despite being scrawny and skinny as hell. Shaggy actually is. Yeah, he actually does have some stuff like to his own like credit, and like Scooby, he's also a master of disguise as well. Like I said, I mean, it's a shame how the show kind of just is a woke reboot, and it was just greenlit for a season two, and they could have just explored these aspects of like his character more, like the ventriloquist stuff. Like, why was Shaggy into like ventriloquism, or maybe some of his ties to like the Western and stuff, or whatever, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But of course, they don't like to explore that. They just want to be like, ah, well, we're just gonna be like self-aware trash, basically. So, yeah, I kind of hate that. So we're gonna go into the next character. All right, so this is where we get into uncharted territory. So we're gonna talk about the titular character herself, and that being Velma Dinkley. Yep, I'm glad to talk about her. I think among the Mr. Incorporated gang, she's probably the second most ruined character, but she's still ruined nonetheless, and I'm gonna get into that right here and right now. All right, Velma Dinkley is a horrible example of a protagonist in this version, and is a textbook definition of a self-insert. Mindy Kaling literally projects herself onto Velma by changing her into the same nationality as herself, as well as write and basically voice the character. And to be honest with you, it seems like she just based the show off of some kind of like revenge fantasy set in her high school days. Velma is an overweight South Asian girl. She lives with her neglectful dad, who's a lawyer, and her pregnant stepmom. Or I know it's pretty much her dad's girlfriend. But I'm going to say stepmom to save some time. So, yeah. But her stepmom, who's a social media influencer, her biological mom went missing less than a decade ago due to like Velma's obsession with mysteries, according to her. So she suffers some kind of like hallucinations. I thought it was like PTSD or something, which I was like, yo, I don't think they understand how mental illness works at all in this show, do they? But turns out later it's revealed to be like some kind of hypnotism or brainwashing. So I'm like, all right, that makes a lot more better sense than PTSD or some kind of weird survivor's guilt. Anyways, outside of her background, she's a narcissist. She's mean spirited. She's unappealing as a character. She makes everything about herself, whether it be making Black Shaggy drop whatever he's doing, like important scholarships, personal dates, or simply just interrupting his social life for her shenanigans. She expects him to drive her like right across from the street from where she just lives at, even though he lives somewhere further because she's just too lazy to walk. Like, oh, ha ha ha, that's so funny. She's also gets jealous of Black Shaggy for moving on to another girl, even though she doesn't really let him on. But hey, it is what it is. But she's just mad because she just can't take advantage of him as much, which is just stupid. She's also not very smart. As they try to as they try to portray her and stuff, given that she needs to cheat off of Black Shaggy's homework, and she brings home like terrible grades, which is kind of contradicting to Velma as a character who's supposed to be like the smartest among the Mr. Incorporated gang. But whatever, right? She's also framed two innocent men for like murder and stuff, and those are like really serious allegations. Like she framed Fred for murder, who actually went to jail over this, and excuse me, and she also framed Black Shaggy's dad, who actually looks a lot more like the actual Shaggy, but whatever. As for her family situation, her dad is not the only neglectful, but he's a drug addict, a lawyer who can barely earn ends meet, but assists his girlfriend with her popular social media status where she takes nudes of herself while pregnant while working as a waitress. Yeah, this is what I mean by like this. By like this whole thing is just everywhere. It's like, yeah, the story's everywhere, man. She accused her dad of cheating on her mom, even though she was missing for like several years, and it wasn't clear if she was like dead, kidnapped, or that she simply ran away due to a failing marriage, which I'll probably talk about in a minute. But anyways, later she proceeds to lock her dad and stepmom and newborn half sister out of their own house just to spend some quality time with her mom, with her newfound mom. Basically, when they found her and stuff, and it turns out she's alive. She locked them outside their own house, basically, and that just proves that she doesn't undergo no kind of character development and stuff, and she's just unlikable just because, and believes that her wrongful actions were just justified all along. Is very dumb. And I think the YouTuber Hypnotic, I like watching his videos and stuff. But if you watch the YouTuber Hypnotic and stuff, he wears this kind of pretty cool mask. Has some pretty cool intros. I like listening to him sometimes. Basically, he reviewed the entire series, and basically he said that Velma pretty much Velma pretty much acts like Daria and stuff, but is treated like Meg Griffin, or she tries to act like Daria, and she's treated like Meg Griffin basically, which is kind of actually accurate. I never thought about it like that, but I'm like, yeah, that actually makes sense. But yeah, that's pretty much Velma in this show. But yeah, a little side note about Velma's dad. Um, and like one of the last couple of episodes of the first season and stuff, basically they kind of treat Velma's dad like crap. I mean, I get it that he's neglectful, but I'm saying like they were trying to like push this whole thing that Velma's dad cheated on his own wife with another woman and stuff, who was missing for almost like what, a decade or two, well, not 2 decades, but like a decade or half a decade at least. All right, look, that's not cheating. I'm like, bro, I hate to say this. Well, I don't hate to say it. I'm sorry, but that's not cheating. That's not cheating in the slightest. Look, if it was like maybe a couple of days or something, then yeah, I guess that would be cheating, I guess. But if she like ran away, or it was kidnapped or dead or whatever, or she was missing for that long, then yes, he's within his rights to move on. It's not like, oh well, that's just cheating and stuff. If he thought she was dead and he moved on to somebody else, especially after their marriage was failing, it makes logical sense that she could probably either be a runaway, like a runaway mom or something, or who knows. But yeah, but this is what I mean by like anti-men and stuff. They always try to find things to like demonize the men. I already mentioned that thing with Shaggy, with Gigi and stuff, where she tried to shame Black Shaggy for she was like, I was stung by a bee and I tried to contact you and you never answered, so it's all your fault. And now this with Velma's dad and stuff, basically, oh, you cheated on your own wife with another woman, even though your first wife has been missing for years and hasn't like contacted anybody, and nobody didn't know what happened to her basically. But hey, it's the man's fault, right? Yeah, that's pretty much what they try to demonstrate inside this show. So all right, so Velma's the smartest and the most sassiest among her friends. The HBO Max series tries to claim that Velma has never gotten the credit that she deserves, even though the villains of the week call them the meddling kids, acknowledging everyone, including Scooby, had played a role in his or her capture. So I know it makes no sense either. And lately, Velma has been a controversial figure given that the Multiverses game removed her special involving calling the police because of some anti-police narrative or rhetoric, as well as changing her sexuality to be bisexual, and then now this. So yeah, it hasn't been good for Velma lately. I honestly don't think they don't know what to do with her character. So yeah, it is what it is. But hey, you gotta modernize everything, right? But anyways, Velma is an active reader and good with technology, and she's able to piece together the clues all together to solve the mystery. She may also be nearsighted and have bad allergies and wears a turtleneck, but Velma is in fact attractive and isn't overweight. So in the show, they try to make Velma come off as unattractive. She's overweight. She's fat. And Velma never before this one, Velma was never presented as unattractive, and she was never overweight. Now, some that might be up for debate, but honestly, though, it's probably just her turtleneck, which it makes her seem overweight, though. But in actuality, she's not really overweight. But anyways, in terms of just being unattractive, I'm like, what are you talking about? Velma's attractive. I'm not crazy about Velma like that, but she's yeah, I'm like, Velma look pretty nice. But yeah, I mean, Velma, she is actually pretty attractive and stuff. Even inside the world of Scooby Doo and stuff, it's just mostly her wardrobe because obviously, like Velma wears like a turtleneck and she wears glasses and stuff. Now you can definitely find a girl attractive with glasses and stuff, but I mean, like it's obviously the sweater. If you ask me, if you take that away and if Velma like started dressing like I don't know, like if she had kind of the fashion sense like Daphne or something, then yeah, like Velma can definitely attract more guys and stuff. But Yeah, she is attractive though, so yeah. But anyways, yeah, but this show they are focused on like I don't know, just making Velma like overweight, gay, and just oh she's Indian, so yeah we got to check all the boxes and stuff, and they rely on like using gross humor and stuff, and just making Velma look like an oxymoron. Emphasis on the moron. All right, now I'm going to talk about the most character assassinated, or the character that went through like that's just gotten like butchered the worst, and that is Fred. Obviously, Fred Jones. He was purposely written to be like a punching bag in this damn show, being the only character who wasn't tokenized. Though, I mean, personally myself, I actually thought they were going to make him gay. I was kind of betting on it. I was like, I know they're going to probably make him gay or something. I just know it. Well, to my surprise, they didn't make him gay, but this is still bad though, very bad. Anyways, Fred in the original was like he was very decisive, masculine, and the leader of the group. In the series, he's emasculated to be a stereotypical rich white privileged guy, as they'll remind you every minute he's on screen, who hasn't gone through puberty based on how spoiled he was growing up. This is what I mean. Like these guys don't understand mental illness and all that stuff. That's not even a thing. Like what the hell? But anyways, but you cannot convince me that this wasn't done out of spite, and it's kind of a scapegoat to just target straight white men, in my opinion. Even if it's offensive humor, which is typically my kind of humor, this is still bad. He was butchered worse than any character I've mentioned so far. The jokes about him are mostly just tied to his nationality, his privilege, his small penis, his toxic masculinity, his dad's toxic masculinity, his catcalling, and his virginity. At one point, they compared him to Adolf Hitler, even. They later down the line kind of turned him into a male feminist, which I didn't see that one coming, where he's no longer conscious of a girl's beauty, but just her mind alone. What? Now, personally myself, I do think that like if you're into a girl and stuff, you at least gotta find her to be, or into a guy or whatever you're into, you gotta at least find like that person to be attractive, and you gotta find them to also like they also had to have a nice character, nice personality, and everything. And that's just my opinion. I stand on that. That's just my standard, I guess. But but we live in this world where they're trying to like be like, oh well, you girls can't like look they gotta look masculine, or they can't be always dolling themselves up to look like to be interested in guys. I mean, and the thing is like guys I don't think have that expectation most of the time, and that girls just do it by I don't know, just they just do it themselves. But I don't want to like date a girl. I'm not interested in girls that are like uh, that just can't. They're not hygienic. Like what? So that's what they're trying to perpetuate here, in my opinion, with the whole. Oh well, yeah, you could definitely be into girls that are that don't take care of themselves and stuff. Basically. All right, so back on topic. Um, Fred is pretty much the most bold and confident among his friends, where Scooby and Shaggy usually leap into his arms sometimes, or Velma and Daphne usually hide behind him and stuff, or usually he goes along with Velma and Daphne and stuff to like protect them and all that, that kind of thing. Fred is usually the one who conjures up the plans or traps to catch the bad guys, of course, which generally does turn out right majority of the time. So I do believe that Fred is good at least at hunting, given how proficient he is with traps, like nets and ropes and stuff. Fred is really good at driving vehicles outside the Mystery Machine. Like he was capable of steering like boats and stuff in a cruise ship. He was once the producer of Daphne's successful talk show as well, displaying his managing skills. As a character, Fred can take charge and adapt quickly when push comes to shove. Fred also enjoys a little excitement, like solving a mystery or going on an adventure with his friends. He may seem a bit dorky, but I have never seen anyone have a problem with like his character before until now, which makes Velma just as a show question why would they want to just like spite Fred so badly. I mean, we all know the reason why, but just like damn, did you really have to do him this dirty? Anyways, honestly, there's no salvaging his character for this show, for the sake of like just a bad joke and just terrible writing. Like that's just all he is in this damn show. All right, so before I finish this video off, I wanted to at least leave off with with a few recommendations to some shows. I'm pretty sure you'll definitely and easily find a lot more enjoyable than Velma. So here we go. All right, coming from recommendations, I gotta say Sonic Boom. Of course, I gotta throw Sonic Boom in here or Sonic. I just got off of rewatching Sonic Boom as well as like watching Velma and stuff. But anyways, like Velma, Sonic Boom is a reboot of a popular IP about a group of teenagers from different walks of life coming together for a noble cause. Unlike Velma, though, Team Boom is actually a group of friends where there are no love triangles and no drama, just functional relationships where characters get along and act recklessly. Sonic Boom also has talking cartoonish animals, something that Velma lacks. So there is that. Another one of my recommendations is Dragon Maid. Dragon Maid, like Velma, is a slice of life series following Miss Kobayashi's day to day life with her friends, where she's also an Asian girl, sporting glasses, insecure about her figure, who has red hair. Differences, though, is that Dragon Maid learns, like, it kind of leans towards the fantasy aspect, but the characters are more, like, relatable, and the characters, like, that appear in their, like, 20s and stuff are actually sexualized, not the minors that the grown men inside this damn show be lusting after, which is very creepy. Um, and usually, even in animes, when grown men do that, they get their ass whooped. So yeah, too bad they don't do that in Velma though. Another recommendation is DuckTales, the 2017 reboot. It's a reboot, much like Velma and the Proud Family, but it isn't held back by political correctness and anti-white narratives, given how the show is about talking anthro ducks. It has a similar element like a missing mom, misadventures with young school kids, rich and wealthy men, and a stable family. It's also a classic spin-off of a popular cartoon character such as Donald Duck, but unlike Velma, it's done right. So, anyways, those are some of my recommendations. Another one of my recommendations, a little extra bonus. Puss in Boots. Definitely check out that Puss in Boots Last Wish movie. It was an awesome movie. I enjoyed it. I watched it last month and stuff in January. It was worth it to go watch it in the movies and stuff. That was my first movie I watched in theaters this year. Animation's awesome. DreamWorks knows what they're doing. Yeah, I would rather go work for DreamWorks or something rather than work for like I don't know, fucking Disney or fucking HBO. Yeah. So definitely go check it out. And by the way, they also handle adoption a lot more better with Goldilocks than they do with Daphne. So that's also something too. Anyways, that's all the recommendations I have. And of course, there is one last character I just want to talk about, and we all know him, we all love him, and it's Scooby Doo. All right, now I think a spinoff could definitely work without Scooby Doo, and it won't be as good as like without without him, it won't be as good. But still, I think it can work. I mean, Mario's had like Mario's a popular character. He's had like spin-offs of other supporting characters like Donkey Kong, Luigi, and Wario, which has successful games and stuff. Naruto has many spin-off novels about characters like Sasuke, Kakashi, Sakura, Shikamaru, Gaara, Itachi, and I think those can sell. So yes, I think a prequel to Scooby-Doo focused on the other four Mystery Incorporated gang members can definitely work. But this isn't the case here. They turned a group of friends, formerly white, to a group of dysfunctional, deconstructed, melodramatic, narcissistic psychopaths, where the men have lackluster character arcs and the women are just gay for no reason and self-absorbed. Scooby-Doo is one of the most iconic cartoon characters ever known, okay? As a character, Scooby is stingy, clumsy, and cowardly, but is intelligent, loyal, funny, and affectionate and resourceful. He's good at sniffing out clues, fishing, swimming, lockpicking, and baiting the villains of the week. Scooby's also capable of talking to other animals, which is actually pretty good for gathering information or convincing said animal to cooperate with them. Personally, myself, the series should remain lighthearted with occasional humor aspects. I think the show works best as a brain teaser aimed at kids, given the comedy. I'm sure most adults like myself find the HBO Max series unappealing and watch it out of spite, because I basically just hate watch that entire show. I'm not coming back for season 2. I mean, whatever I hear from season 2, I just hear from season 2. I'm not watching that fucking show. I just wanted to at least get a firm idea about it. Anyways, the reason why the cartoons and shows like Velma is such a problem is because it kind of encourages laziness and stuff in the world of animation. That's why I wanted to call it out. and it's kind of like marking it based off the Scooby Doo's name alone. So that makes it even worse because they're dragging somebody else's name through the mud, basically. And those people who worked on it are like just self sabotaging the show from the get go. Basically, like Mindy Kaling, trust me, she knew this was going to be a bad show from the start, but she didn't care. They just wash their hands clean of this and just move on. Like they just move upward in their career. Whereas the people that like from long ago just get thrown under the bus and have like 54 years of their like long running franchise and their legacy just destroyed. And that's not even just the people that created, but that's like the producers, the writers, the artists, the musicians, the voice actors. They all just get kicked to the curb. So, anyways, those are my thoughts about Velma. I normally don't really talk about this stuff often, but yeah. Tell me what you think down below. Did you guys like it? Did you hate it? I'm pretty sure a lot of people hated it, like myself. Um, yeah. But anyways, this is the Keenest Fox, and I am out. Peace.